She was lying at the bottom of the stairs when Daniel called 911. His voice sounded terrified, but investigators would later discover something chilling hidden beneath the panic. Because inside that perfect family home, someone was desperately trying to erase the truth before police arrived. Days before her tragic death, Claire Bennett recorded a message she never wanted anyone to hear. Her voice trembled with fear as she described the terrifying reality hidden behind her perfect marriage. What she said next would completely change the entire investigation forever. The Bennett family home looked perfect from the outside, but before sunrise, flashing police lights shattered the quiet neighborhood. Neighbors stood frozen as detectives rushed through the front door. Inside that beautiful house, a horrifying tragedy had already changed everything forever. Daniel Bennett sat trembling on the porch, answering questions through tears. He called it a terrible accident, but detectives noticed something strange beneath his grief. A cold emptiness hidden behind his carefully controlled emotions and rehearsed words. Claire Bennett was discovered lifeless at the bottom of the staircase. Broken frames surrounded her motionless body as silence filled the house. Investigators immediately questioned whether this was truly an accident or something far darker hidden behind the family's perfect image. The kitchen told its own disturbing story. Dinner had been interrupted. Wine glasses remained untouched. A shattered bottle lay across the floor like evidence of a violent argument no one wanted to admit had happened that night. Inside the bathroom cabinet, detectives uncovered anxiety medication Claire kept hidden for friends and family. Behind her warm smile and perfect public image, she had secretly been fighting emotional pain no one around her truly understood. Family portraits covered the walls, capturing smiles, vacations, and happy memories. But as detectives searched room by room, those photographs began to feel less like memories of love and more like evidence hiding years of silent suffering. When forensic lights revealed bruises on Claire's wrist, the investigation changed instantly. Those injuries didn't match a simple fall. In that moment, detectives realized the perfect family story Daniel Bennett told might be built entirely on lies. To friends and neighbors, Claire and Daniel Bennett looked like the perfect couple. Smiling photographs and happy gatherings convinced everyone their marriage was strong. But behind those smiles, emotional cracks had already started destroying the relationship from within. Late at night, Claire stared at perfect family photos while quietly crying in the darkness. Online, her life appeared flawless. In reality, she felt trapped inside a marriage that was becoming colder, controlling, and emotionally terrifying every single day. That Claire's best friend Megan admitted something had changed in recent months. Claire became distant, nervous, and afraid to speak openly. She once whispered that the person closest to her had slowly become the source of her deepest fear. Dinner inside the Bennett home often ended in silence. The emotional distance between husband and wife grew stronger with every passing week. What once looked like love had quietly transformed into resentment, manipulation, and psychological control. Even during family photographs, Daniel's controlling behavior appeared in subtle ways nobody noticed before. A grip held too tightly, a forced smile, a nervous glance from Claire. Tiny warning signs hidden beneath carefully staged happiness. Detectives discovered documents proving Claire secretly contacted a divorce attorney days before her death. The revelation shocked investigators. Claire wasn't planning a future with Daniel anymore. She was desperately trying to escape him. After another argument, Claire stood alone in front of the mirror, emotionally exhausted and terrified. The woman everyone admired publicly was privately breaking apart under years of emotional pressure no one around her fully understood. When detectives finally unlocked Claire's phone, they uncovered disturbing secrets hidden behind passwords and deleted files. What they found would completely destroy Daniel Bennett's version of events and reveal the terrifying truth inside the marriage. Sitting alone inside her car, Claire secretly recorded voice messages describing emotional abuse and fear. Her voice trembled as rain struck the windows. She sounded like someone desperately documenting evidence before something terrible finally happened. The text messages painted a chilling picture of manipulation and control. Claire described feeling trapped, isolated, and emotionally destroyed. Every message revealed a marriage slowly collapsing behind the illusion of perfection shown to the world. Daniel's hidden gambling addiction created crushing financial pressure behind the family's luxurious lifestyle. Unpaid debts and desperate decisions were beginning to spiral out of control, giving investigators a possible motive for Claire's tragic death. Claire's meeting with her former college boyfriend wasn't romantic. She simply needed someone she trusted. For the first time in years, she confided in someone about the emotional prison her marriage had become. Investigators discovered important security footage had been deleted from inside the house on the night Claire died. Someone inside the Bennett home had desperately tried to erase evidence before police arrived at the scene. Late at night, Daniel stared nervously at missing surveillance files on his laptop screen. Panic slowly replaced confidence. The carefully controlled image he spent years protecting was beginning to collapse around him piece by piece. The Bennett children revealed painful memories during police interviews. They described hearing shouting, crying, and objects breaking late at night. Behind closed bedroom doors, they witnessed the terrifying reality hidden beneath their family's perfect image. As arguments echoed downstairs, Claire's daughter covered her ears in fear. The home that once felt safe had become a place filled with tension, silence, and emotional trauma the children would carry long after the tragedy ended. One rainy night, Claire arrived bruised and terrified at Megan's house. But despite her fear, she begged her friend not to call the police. She believed Daniel would destroy her reputation and take the children away forever. Walking through the now empty family home, detectives felt the weight of silence hanging in every room. The beautiful house no longer looked warm or welcoming. It felt haunted by years of hidden emotional pain. The smiling family portraits contrasted horribly against the faint blood stains investigators discovered beneath the clean floorboards. It was becoming impossible to separate the image of happiness from the violence secretly buried underneath it. Daniel remained calm while speaking with detectives, carefully shaping the story to portray Claire as emotionally unstable. But investigators began noticing how calculated and controlled his words sounded during every interview. Forensic experts confirmed Claire's injuries could not have resulted from a simple staircase fall. The evidence suggested violence, struggle, and panic. Investigators now believe Claire Bennett's death was no tragic accident at all. While presenting himself as a devoted husband and father, Daniel secretly lived a second life hidden from everyone around him. Late-night meetings, lies, and betrayal revealed a man obsessed with protecting appearances no matter the cost. Detectives uncovered hidden debts, gambling receipts, and evidence of multiple affairs. The perfect family image Daniel worked so hard to maintain was collapsing fast, exposing years of deception buried beneath luxury, charm, and carefully staged happiness. Fearing for her safety, Claire began secretly recording arguments with Daniel. Her trembling hands held the phone tightly as his anger filled the room. She no longer trusted the man she once believed would always protect her. During a violent storm, another argument exploded inside the Bennett home. Glass shattered across the kitchen floor as years of resentment and emotional manipulation erupted into pure rage neither of them could control anymore. That a former coworker described Daniel as charming in public, but deeply controlling in private. According to her, he feared losing control over people more than losing the people themselves, especially Claire and the image of his family. Investigators discovered traces of Claire's blood cleaned from the kitchen floor. Someone had desperately tried to erase what happened that night. But even after the cleanup, the house still carried the horrifying evidence of violence. Standing alone in darkness, Daniel stared at his reflection with fear and exhaustion in his eyes. The carefully crafted identity he spent years protecting was beginning to break apart under the growing pressure of the investigation. On the final night, years of buried anger exploded inside the Bennett home. Claire and Daniel screamed at each other as thunder shook the windows. The marriage that once looked perfect was violently collapsing in real time. Terrified and desperate, Claire tried to escape the confrontation. But Daniel followed her through the hallway, refusing to let go of control. Fear filled the house as the argument spiraled toward irreversible tragedy. Furniture crashed to the floor while family photographs shattered during the violent struggle. The home built around love and appearances transformed into a scene of chaos, exposing the terrifying truth hidden inside the marriage for years. In one horrifying moment, Claire collapsed after suffering fatal injuries during the confrontation. Silence suddenly replaced the screaming. The reality of what had happened began sinking in as Daniel stared helplessly at the devastating scene before him. Instead of calling for help immediately, Daniel desperately cleaned blood from the kitchen floor. Panic controlled every movement as he tried erasing evidence and staging the house to resemble a tragic household accident. Forensic investigators carefully reconstructed the crime scene piece by piece. Blood patterns, broken objects, and witness statements revealed a violent confrontation that completely contradicted Daniel's carefully rehearsed version of events. AS police placed Daniel under arrest outside his home. Shocked neighbors watched silently from the street. The man once admired as the perfect husband was now accused of murdering the woman everyone believed he loved most. Inside the courtroom, Daniel Bennett sat emotionless, while prosecutors prepared to expose the truth hidden behind his charming public image. The perfect husband persona that fooled everyone was finally beginning to collapse before the world. Investigators played Claire's emotional voice recordings for the courtroom. Her trembling words filled the silence as jurors listened to the fear, manipulation, and emotional pain she secretly endured throughout her marriage. Megan broke down while testifying about Claire's fear and hidden bruises. For years, she blamed herself for staying silent. Now she faced the heartbreaking reality that her best friend never escaped the danger at home. Jurors listened carefully as prosecutors presented evidence of abuse, manipulation, and financial motives. Every new detail slowly destroyed the illusion of a loving marriage Daniel desperately tried protecting throughout the investigation. Daniel's defense team argued Claire's death was accidental and blamed emotional instability for the tragedy. But the courtroom tension grew heavier as contradictions and hidden lies continued surfacing under intense questioning that Claire's family sat devastated during the verdict announcement. Years of grief, anger, and unanswered questions filled the courtroom as everyone waited to hear whether justice would finally be served after her tragic death. The moment handcuffs locked around Daniel's wrists, the courtroom fell silent. The perfect husband image was gone forever. In its place stood a convicted killer whose dark secrets destroyed everything he once tried controlling. After the trial ended, the Bennett children left the courthouse holding relatives' hands beneath cold gray skies. Their lives would never return to normal after losing both parents to the darkness hidden inside their home. Standing beside Claire's grave at sunset, Megan quietly placed flowers onto the cold stone. Grief mixed with guilt as she remembered the warnings, fears, and painful secrets Claire carried alone for far too long. That Claire's journal revealed heartbreaking thoughts about loneliness, fear, and emotional isolation inside her marriage. Her final writings exposed the painful reality that sometimes the most dangerous relationships appear perfectly normal from the outside. The once beautiful Bennett house now stood abandoned beneath dark storm clouds. Empty windows overlooked silent streets while neighbors avoided discussing the tragedy that forever destroyed the image of the perfect family. Dust slowly covered old family photographs left behind inside the empty house. Smiling memories frozen in time now felt haunting, reminding everyone how easily appearances can hide years of emotional suffering and violence. Holding an old family picture near the rain-covered window, Claire's son stared silently into the darkness outside. Even after the truth came out, the emotional scars left behind would remain with the children forever. AS night fell over the empty suburban home. A single hallway light glowed faintly through the darkness. The house remained standing, a haunting reminder that behind some perfect families hide secrets capable of destroying everything.